Hi, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will walk you through Kiro, which is a new IDE developed by Amazon. It is an AI-powered IDE which we will use here to develop an end-to-end application. We will create a front-end and back-end using a simple design which we will just draw and then ask Kiro to provide the code. Let's see how it works. So let's first download Kiro to our system. I'm using Windows, so I'll download Kiro for Windows. So right now Amazon is providing Kiro as a preview mode. So for now you can use it for free. So let me run the installer real quick. So now it's installing. I'll be logging in using my AWS Builder ID. To join using Google ID, you'll have to join the waiting list in Kiro website. So this is how your ID will look like. You can open an existing project and start working on it. You can see the Explorer to open the project and the different files of the project. You can search for the files, and here you see the sign for Kiro, which would be our Agentic AI helping us to develop the application which we are going to work on now. So since for this demo we don't have anything and we are starting from scratch, I've created a blank folder, so I'll open it as a project here. So this is how the view is after I changed it to a blank folder. I can see now the Kiro option, and I can see few options for Agentic AI which I can work on. You can actually build specs for my project. You can create agent hooks. We can have agent steerings and also connect to MCP servers. For this example, we'll just keep it simple and build a front end and a backend application using Kiro just by using a design which we'll be drawing on raw.io. So let's suppose I want to create a website for a school. So let's begin at the landing page, how it will look like. Let me give a title. Let's have options for sign in and login, maybe here. So we created two buttons for login and sign up. Let's also create a menu bar for our school. So I just created 4 menu options with going to home, department, admissions, and about us. I just also added some static text for providing important informations like upcoming exam dates or holiday calendars. So this is just a basic website landing page for our school. Let's see how Kiro helps us to generate this. I'll save this as a image file. So I've just uploaded that. So I've just uploaded the PNG file which I downloaded from raw.io. I'll just provide a prompt to help me create a front-end app with this design. So now Kiro is loading up and working on the image. So as it's thinking and working, you can see that it's started to create files on my local. So on the workspace which I've created, it has started with creating the index.html, and you can see the code getting generated. So now you can see, even if you are familiar with HTML, that it's generating the landing page in the same manner. It's providing us the title and the menu bar as I created. Now it's generating styles. So you can actually expand and see that what it is currently working on. So now it has moved to creating the JS file, that is the JavaScript for the app. So now it has provided the details that it has created the basic layout, that is the landing page, and also with styles and scripts. Once it's finished, it will show you all the changes. So it has 3 changes. I can just open the changes and see them. So it had just created a basic app which is just using plain HTML, CSS, and JS. What if I want to make it a more modern front end? So let me ask it to rewrite it as a React application. So rewrite this app as a React app. So now it will just check the current project and it will just convert all the files in the form of a React application. So it's creating the package.json, which would have all the dependencies for my React app, and slowly it will start building the entire setup for my React application. So now you can see that it is cleaning up the old files and it has created new files and also have a README. Now it will explain me that what's the new app structure, what are the different files. For example, it will explain me the components and the different JS files and what's the architecture based on. And here I can see all the changes. So you can see that these files are deleted and these are the new files which are created. And here in the Explorer, I can see the entire structure. So I have index.html here and I have the components here for header and navigation and also the package.json. Now let me ask it, how can I run it? So for someone who is unaware of any front-end coding or how to deploy those changes, it will step-by-step explain that how you can run it locally. So all the commands you don't need to copy, you can just directly run in terminal from here. So for example, if I want to install npm, I can just run it from here. So this will install npm. So npm install is done. Next step is to start. That is npm start. I'll also run that in terminal. So now the app is started. Let's check out localhost 3000 as it mentions in its description. So you can see this is the app which we have created. We have the menu bar and the title and the login sign up buttons and the box just like we had designed in our page. So it doesn't look like a website yet, but it's just created the same as we had explained it to and also as a React app. Now let's modify it and ask Kiro to make it more realistic. So I'm just adding a prompt to make the website more realistic and modernized, and to add navigation to each of the menu options which we have in our website, and also to have login and sign up flows with appropriate content. So let me just run it. So now it will start editing the files, adding more dependencies as required. So now it has modernized the website, it has added the pages. You can see that it's still working on editing the files, but it's like already decided that what are the new files it's going to create and what are the edits it is going to make to the existing files. So now I can see there are 15 changes which it has created. So if we click on changes, I can actually see the line changes which it has made to the existing files. So for example, here it has added a new dependency for Reactor DOM, and in the app CSS, it has added or changed the max width from 1000 to 1200. So all the changes are visible for each of the prompts, and you can actually for each of the files just validate that what has Kiro updated in your current application. So since new dependencies were added, I'll just run npm install again. So after running npm start, this is the new website which it has created. You can see that it's much more modernized and different from the original design. It has a landing page with important announcements, news, and hyperlinks for different pages. In the menu bar, I can go to different options, like for departments, I can check different departments, different options for admissions, where you can drop down and select the options and fill in the details, and also an about us page. You can also see there is a login page, and we can log in for different kinds of users like faculty, staff, or student. I can also sign up. That's the same as the sign up button, where I can provide my details, provide my program details, create using the passwords. So you can actually alter it as per your need. You can just ask for any prompt and it will change your website entirely as per your prompt. So now as our front end is ready, You can also use Kiro to make the backend for your application. So the backend which will talk to your front end and actually persist and get data from the database, and everything can be done codeless by just using your prompts. So let's begin with creating a backend. So I'm just providing a prompt that change my existing application into a monorepo, which means my backend will also reside in the same folder structure. And I'm asking it to make it as a Java backend service. I'll just ask it to create a login and sign up endpoint in my Java backend service, and also persist the data in MongoDB, which I'm running locally. So let's run it. So you can see that it has started working on changing the entire structure of my workspace. It is changing the front-end apps into a front-end folder, and it's creating a backend folder for my Java application. And now it has started to create the backend. So since it's Java Spring Boot application, it is first creating the POM XML for the dependencies. So now it's creating each files. So you can see all the Java files getting generated. It has created the controller for your endpoints. This one is for sign up and this is for authorization. And it is using the user repository from Spring Boot. So it's giving me the entire setup which it has created. It has front-end folder with all the front-end files. That is the React app with package.json and all the SRC files. And it has the backend folder with the entire Java application, the controller, the model repository, and the POM.xml with dependencies and application YAML for your configurations. It's still working on some final touches. So you can see there are 25 changes as all the Java files, and also moving your JS files or your React application into the front-end folder. Now let's run it. So since the folder structure has changed, I'll cd to front-end and run npm install. So I've run npm start to start my React application. So in another terminal, I'll move to backend folder and run npm install to compile my Java code. So you can see the compilation failed for my Java app, and now Kiro is actually working on rectifying the issue. So it will first check my version. So now it mentions that I am using Java 15 and the project is configured for Java 17. So now it's editing the pom.xml to match the installation which I have. So you can see that it fixes bugs also when we have certain issues related to any tweaks required for your project. So it's making all the necessary changes as per Java 15 code. So you can see the issue is fixed and the build is success. Now let me start the application. So it is provided with the prompt. So you can see there are 25 changes as all the Java files, and also moving your JS files or your React application into the front-end folder. Now let's run it. Since the folder structure has changed, I'll add npm install after moving into front-end. So since the folder structure has changed, I'll cd to front-end and run npm install. So I've run npm start to start my React application. So in another terminal, I'll move to backend folder and run npm install to compile my Java code. So you can see the compilation failed for my Java app, and now Kiro is actually working on rectifying the issue. So it will first check my version. So now it mentions that I am using Java 15 and the project is configured for Java 17. So now it's editing the pom.xml to match the installation which I have. So you can see that it fixes bugs also when we have certain issues related to any tweaks required for your project. So it's making all the necessary changes as per Java 15 code. So you can see the issue is fixed and the build is success. Now let me start the application. So it is provided with the prompt. So my backend has started now. Now let's just test the sign up and login flow if my front end is talking to the backend and also persisting the data into MongoDB. So I'll just sign up as a student. So I have filled in the details I'll agree to the conditions and then create the account. So it's back to the home page. Now let's try to log in. So if I click on sign in, it's actually redirecting to the home page, but because that functionality is not written. But let me just check in the DB. So in the DB, in my Kiro school database, in the users collection, I can see that that user is created with his first name, last name, and the password, and that password is encrypted. So you can see that the data is getting transmitted to the database from your front-end React app via your Java backend application to your MongoDB. So this was just a small example how you can create the entire application from your front end to back end, and entire code base could be written without even writing a single code using Kiro. So you just need to have the appropriate prompts, and if you have basic knowledge or if you are familiar with the technology, you can actually work out and create big projects out of the designs which you make out in your design phase. So Kiro is an excellent IDE which does not only provide autocompletes like traditional IDEs, but actually is helping us to develop an entire project by the help of prompts. It's not completely error proof. We have to have the knowledge and understanding of what's going on when the Agentic AI is creating the code base, but it just gives you a head start and makes your coding experience much more smoother. Hope this demo was helpful. Please subscribe for more such videos. Thank you for watching.